You know what's crazy? In South Africa, fame can make you rich overnight, but it can also leave you with nothing just as fast. Behind the glitz, the TV cameras, and the music videos, there's a darker side to Mzansi's entertainment world. One filled with repossessed cars, lost mansions, and some of our biggest icons forced to start all over again. So today, we're counting down 14 Mzansi stars who went from living the dream to completely broke or even homeless. From soccer legends who once earned hundreds of thousands a month to actors who can't even afford their medical bills, this list shows just how fragile fame really is. Let's get into it. At number 13, we start with a name that shocked South African football fans. Antony Laffor, the Mamelodi Sundowns legend. During his prime, Antony was earning over 300,000 rand per month, living in a mansion, driving the latest cars, and living large. But by 2022, everything came crashing down. He lost his 2.4 million rand house, his cars, and every major asset he owned. Reports showed he was drowning in over 5 million rand in debt, including loans for luxury cars and personal spending. Some say reckless debt and pressure to maintain a high-end lifestyle pushed him over the edge. Others claim his relationship choices played a role too. Whatever the reason, the result was brutal. A star once worth millions, left with nothing but a lesson on how fast fame can disappear. Number 12. Next up, Philemon Masinga, one of the heroes who took South Africa to its first World Cup. Philemon once had it all: petrol stations, nightclubs, and houses. A real football businessman. But by 2011, he was flat broke. He admitted himself he made very bad investments and had to move back into his late mother's back room after losing everything. His story is the perfect example of how financial illiteracy can destroy even the most successful athletes. Imagine, from scoring legendary goals to struggling to survive. It's a heartbreaking reminder that talent without financial planning is a ticking time bomb. Number 11 is one of the saddest stories on this list. Emille Baron, former Bafana goalkeeper. After retirement, Emille's life took a sharp turn. With no savings, no investments, and injuries that ended his career, he ended up relying on handouts and a 500 rand government grant. That's right. A man who once represented South Africa on the world stage, now surviving on a few hundred rand a month. The Players' Union called his situation a national shame. They said it's not just about bad spending, it's about how our system fails to prepare athletes for life after sport. 70% of retired footballers, they say, end up in extreme poverty. Baron is living proof of that statistic. Number 10. Coming in at number 10, Benedict Vilakazi, the small player with a big name. He was once on track for international greatness with a move to Europe on the table. But scandals and controversy followed him everywhere. From court cases to disciplinary issues, his off-field problems cost him major contracts and sponsorships. By 30, his football career was over, and so was the money. It's a reminder that sometimes it's not just the system, it's personal choices too. Fame gives you opportunity, but it doesn't guarantee wisdom. At number 9, we've got another Sundown star, Lovers Mohlala. Lovers openly admitted he went broke because of women, parties, and the lifestyle. Every paycheck that came in went straight out. And when the cheers stopped and the salary ended, reality hit hard. Lovers said he wished he had listened when older players warned him. But when you're young, famous, and adored, it's easy to think the money will never stop coming. Sadly, that attitude left him with nothing to show for a decade of football glory. Number 8. Now let's move to the acting world. And at number 8, we have Tony, one of South Africa's most respected actors. He starred in Invictus, Hotel Rwanda, and Long Walk to Freedom. On screen, he played powerful men, but off screen, he was struggling to survive. Tony's Mercedes-Benz was repossessed, and he publicly admitted to being deep in debt. The crazy part? It wasn't because he wasn't working. It's because the South African film industry doesn't pay residuals, meaning even when his shows re-air or stream online, he doesn't get a cent. Imagine working on award-winning productions that the world watches for years, but you only get paid once. That's the reality for many actors. And Tony became the face of that injustice. At number 7, a name every South African household knows. Mom Nandi Nyembe. The veteran actress has been in everything from Yizo Yizo to Isibaya. But when her son fell ill, she spent all her life savings trying to save him. Then her own health declined. She became wheelchair bound and eventually had to ask the public for financial help. Her story is heartbreaking, not because she was careless with money, but because there's no safety net for actors in South Africa. No pension fund, no medical insurance from the industry, nothing. One illness, one bad year, and you can lose everything. Unfortunately, even your life. May her soul rest in peace. Number 6. Next up, Mkhize. Known for her roles on Isibaya and The River, Mkhize's story shows how quickly the industry can forget you. When roles dried up, she couldn't keep up with rent. And eventually, she lost her home. She went public, pleading for help just to survive. The sad truth, many actors live paycheck to paycheck because gigs come and go. There's no long-term contract, no benefits, and no guarantee of work tomorrow. One bad year and you're gone from TV and from financial stability. At number 5, we go back to a 2000 fan favorite, Roderick Jaftha, the man who played Glenn Majosi on Generations. In the early 2000s, Glenn was one of the most recognizable faces on South African television. But after leaving Generations, work slowed down. Without steady income, bills piled up, and eventually he had to ask the public for help too. It's a pattern we keep seeing. Once the camera stops rolling, the money dries up instantly. In an industry with no royalties or social protection, actors like Roderick are left to fend for themselves. Number 4, Hugh Masebenza. You might remember him from countless TV commercials and roles on Generations and City Sesla. For years, Hugh was one of those you see him everywhere actors. But behind the scenes, his life was falling apart. He reportedly lost his home and was spotted struggling on the streets. Social media went into a frenzy, wondering how such a familiar face could fall so far. The truth, like many others, Hugh was a victim of an industry that pays once and never again. No royalties, no safety net, one bad contract, one dry spell, and suddenly the celebrity life is gone. Number 3, coming in at number 3, Carlo Radebe, another familiar face from the golden age of South African TV. He starred in hit shows like Backstage and Rhythm City, but over time the work faded and so did the finances. Carlo reportedly lost his house and cars, and sources close to him said he was living in isolation, struggling to rebuild. What makes Carlo's story painful is that he was once one of the most respected and hardworking actors. But again, the system failed him. In Hollywood, reruns and streaming would keep paying him for decades. In Mzansi, not a cent. At number 2, the story that broke Mzansi's heart, Zola 7. Once the voice of the streets, Zola was more than a musician. He was a symbol of hope, using his fame to uplift communities through his hit TV show Zola 7. But years later, the same man who inspired millions was battling health issues and financial hardship. Fans were shocked when videos surfaced of him looking weak and frail, with reports that he was struggling to afford his medication. Zola later confirmed that money was tight and that fame had its dark side. The very industry that made him a legend had no system to support him when things went wrong. Zola's story shows how being famous doesn't mean being financially secure, especially in an industry where contracts, royalties, and protections barely exist. And finally, at number 1, Babes Wodumo. When Babes dropped Wololo, she wasn't just a star, she was a phenomenon. Her sound defined the genre. Her energy dominated stages across the world. But as fast as she rose, the problems followed. Disputes over money, management drama, and public controversies left her career on shaky ground. Insiders say poor financial management and contractual confusion cost her millions in potential earnings. After her husband's death, things reportedly got even tougher, with financial stress and personal struggles piling up. While Babes is still performing and fighting to rebuild, her story is a warning that even when you're at the top, you're never safe if you don't control your money and your contracts. These stories aren't just gossip. They're symptoms of a broken system. In Mzansi, fame gives you visibility, but not security. You can be on every billboard, every radio station, every screen, and still have nothing in the bank when it's all over. Why? Because there's no structure. No royalties for actors, no mandatory financial planning for players, and in music, predatory contracts still rob artists of their masters and their future wealth. Add poor financial education and pressure to look rich, and you've got the perfect recipe for disaster. From Antony Laffor's mansion repossession to Zola 7's health struggles, these are not random tragedies. They're a pattern, a system that celebrates its stars when they're shining and forgets them the second the lights go off. So next time you see a celebrity flexing on Instagram, remember, fame in Mzansi is often a borrowed lifestyle, because behind every designer outfit and luxury car, there's a ticking clock. And when the money runs out, the fame doesn't pay the bills. If you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into Mzansi's real stories, and comment below. Which fallen star shocked you the most?